Welcome, adventurer, to FK's Building Guide to Minecraft. Today we're going to be going over some basic principles that are going to help you in your Minecraft building skills. Now please keep in mind, everyone has their own styles and preferences, whether they like it simple or busy or whatever the case may be. I'm merely sharing my experience. I have a pretty extensive art background, and I've worked with a lot of really good builders. Unfortunately, I'm not aware of them having any YouTube channels, so they were kind of working in the shadows, but definitely their styles have influenced me, so I'll probably talk about them time to time. Anyways, to get started, I'm going to go over the three types of builders I've seen in my adventures throughout the various servers out there. The first type of builder is the derp. The derps are typically the builders that build really big box cobblestone houses, or boxes that they call cobblestone houses. Now the reason typically these boxes are an eyesore is because there's no contrast. The thing that makes images appealing to people is the ability to distinguish differences between point A and point B. The more differences there are, the more rich the image looks like, and therefore the more appealing. The second type of builder I've seen in my adventures is the detailist. The detailist adds depth, variety, and details to their composition. An important detail to note about this house is the roof. The purpose of the roof is to prevent water from getting into your living areas. But most importantly, it's supposed to act as a runoff. It allows the water to basically not weigh your walls down. Now granted, these elements aren't actually in Minecraft, but they're details nonetheless. Details that make the house even more appealing because it's giving it a purpose. Now if you come inside, you're going to notice a variety in blocks used for the floor, the wall, and the roof. Now the reason this is appealing is because the brain has a very easy time identifying the difference between the three areas. There are many uses in variety, but this is a pretty simple one that can easily be applied with houses. Houses are meant to be comforting, usually. I'm sure you can do weird stuff with houses. But typically when you make a house, it's for comfort, a place to rest, a place to relax. And one of the ways to get the brain to relax is to create something that's familiar. And if the brain has an easy time to distinguish the floor from the wall from the ceiling, it makes the brain that much more comforting. So it's basically an enhancer in itself. As for depth, I want to point out that this fence right here is backed up more than the wall itself, which allows the brain to distinguish the wall from the window. Like, this subtle difference adds to the appeal because, again, of the contrast. The third builder I've run into is the extreme detailist. Now, I'm sure you have guessed it. The extreme detailist is a bit extreme when it comes to the details. For instance, the roof here isn't one straight diagonal line. There's more shape to it. There's more going on. The extreme detailist will use objects for things they're not really supposed to be used for. For example, trapdoors as framing for a wall, or buttons as little knob decorations. By using their imagination, they'll take a simple log and put a pressure plate on top to make it look like it has a lid, turning it into a barrel. Going inside the house, there's usually also an exceptional amount of details, like a floor ventilation system. Using signs as support for the roof. Using simple blocks like stairs and fences and pressure plates and signs to get complex furniture. Unnecessarily detailed closets with shelving. And the best part about this build so far is all of it's low tech. The majority of it's made out of wood. So the first basic guideline I want to go over is depth. Boring wall, no depth at all. It's only 1 block thick. This particular wall does illustrate depth. It's 2 blocks thick, and as you can see, the use of slabs and staircases to emphasize indentations in the wall itself. And of course, you can emphasize even more depth by increasing the thickness of the wall further. As you can see, this wall is 3 blocks thick. More depth equals more shape, which makes the wall look a lot less derpy. The next guideline I want to talk about is variety. Once again, we start off with a boring wall. Then bam! Some of the walls breaking, some of the walls growing some stuff on it. Push the variety even further, and as you can see, you can tell a story using variety. It's as if the wall's falling apart, decaying. You can see some of the slabs in the foreground, like it's crying and it needs to be fixed. The final guideline I want to go over is the details, paying attention to the details. Firstly, I want to point out, if you want to add more details, simply make the project bigger. By simply making a 1 deep floor 3 deep instead, you can add a whole new dimension, for example, redstone. Pushing the detail even further, you can make the floor instead of 3 deep, 5 deep, and you can add a whole walkway for anyone that needs to do redstone maintenance. The big point here is have the details tell a story. Have them make sense. If you do a spaceship and you want a ventilation system where dead space necromorphs are chasing you all about, then do it. Put the details. Give purpose to everything that you do. If you have a wall, make sure the wall actually makes sense. Does it act as foundation, or does it perhaps just express the culture of your spawn town? You'll be surprised what you can do with stairs. This is an example of a wall that just expresses culture of a town. It's a dragon horse thing. I have no idea what the hell I built. But the point is this illustrates something. It tells a story. It expresses something. There is purpose to this wall. The last thing I want to emphasize when it comes to details is experimenting and looking at other people's builds. This is obviously a refrigerator. All it is a couple of iron blocks, an iron door, a button, and under it a dispenser. And when you press the button, as you can see, watermelon comes out, or whatever the hell food you want to put in it. I never came up with this myself. I saw someone else do it who probably learned it for something else, thought it was really cool, and so I did it. And if you can't tell what this is a toilet. I've done a lot of experimenting trying to figure out a cool toilet. I never came up with this one. I figured this one out for someone else, and I fell in love with it, and I've used it since. Finally, this technique, cobwebs as smoke, I got from a guy named Nightmare Splody, who probably got the idea from somewhere else. I don't know. But I saw this in one of his builds, and I thought it was awesome. I use it time to time. Anyways, to recap, to graduate from being a derp, all you gotta do is add some depth, add some variety, and make sure the details tell a story. You do these 3 things, and your builds will be amazing. They'll be awesome. But the most important thing to remember is to be happy with whatever you want to build. If you're happy with the derpy looking boxes, then go ahead and build the derpy looking boxes. But if you want to expand and try other things, and I emphasize the importance of experimenting and stealing other people's styles. No, I'm just kidding. Try to create your own style, but it's okay to allow other people to influence you because there are some awesome builders out there. Well, I hope this information was useful to you, adventurer. If you have any other questions, by all means ask. Until next time.